2. It's coming. And you are looking live from Briggs Ranch, Cottage 14, right off of the second hole. Is that we're going to talk about today the WorldWide Championship. Before we get there, I'll introduce the panel today. Joining me is my crack research guy and just nice guy extraordinaire.
Nice
Scooby
guy.
is here.
Call me the research guy because I put on the collar tonight. Watch out.
You did.
Yeah, I'm looking fancy.
It's fully done. And also, you all know him from phenomenal reviews. Phenomenal, great word. Longtime THPer, JMan has joined us today.
I have a way with words, yes.
Yes, you do.
I'm excited to be here, man.
Hey, so this is the first time that we've ever done this live on location. We played this. J-Man and I played 27 holes today at this event. We'll talk about Briggs in a second. I thank everyone for following along and joining us as we go through this. A couple mentions before we get stuck in and get started. As we go through some of the odds, if you're an Albatross Club member, and if you're not, why aren't you? Hey, you got 35 coins. The odds that we're going to go over tonight, you could win coins, okay? So if you've never bet before, if you're not a recovering degenerate like myself, let me just walk you through it. If, say, someone is 4-1, okay? So we're going to get to when worlds collide. They're going to be posted at 4-1. They're posted at 4-1 at Lord Dox's sports book. Every 1 coin bet would pay 4 if they were to win, okay? As you get into some of the other minuses, just sort of do the math. Minus 150, you have to put up 1.5 to pay 1. Plus 100 is basically even money. If you have any questions, you can ask on the forum because, look, I know about all of the things, exotics. I can even explain some of the exotic one-time hop bets at a craps table to you if you need that.
It's your one-stop shop for knowledge, right?
Right. It's a one-stop shop. Also, what I also want to touch on is we have a little bit of a title lineage, if you will. Like anybody that watches wrestling like I do, J-Man does, Scooby, you do not, but you need to. Will realize that this event, historically, when we go over the history, used to be sponsored by Budget. Now WorldWide, and then it was sort of combined with Bag Boy the last several iterations of this. We've had sort of a title belt split. Bag Boy is going to be its own thing. We're going to talk about that weeks ahead. But the title lineage, if you will, okay, follows along with the old school Budget Championship. Budget Championship becomes WorldWide, and that is sort of the title lineage when we get to the history. Also, I want to thank WorldWide for sponsoring this event. I love this event. It's one of my favorites to do, no doubt. If you haven't had a chance to visit their website or stop by one of their stores, please do. And if you're in the Ludotic Friends and you're playing like old tech, okay, and you've got old tech sitting in your garage, I know you. I see you people.
Old tech.
Right? You got Cleveland 588 wedges that you and I both know that you're not going to put back in play. I love the 588s too, but you're not going to put them back in play. Go get on their website. You go up to trade up and trade in. You put them in a box, right? You tell them what you're trading in. You put it in a box. You pay $10 for a shipping label. And before you know it, you get a gift card where you can upgrade your tech and talk about new tech on the forum instead of having like all of these old wedges sitting around. That's what I had in my garage. I just gathered like CG16. Here's some 588s. And before you know it, I've got like 10 wedges in my hand. Traded all those in, got a gift card, applied it to the driver that I crushed today, okay? You could do the same thing if you're in the Lunatic Fringe. Support the sponsor, support WorldWide, super easy to call, click, or stop by.
Old tech for new hotness.
New hotness. Okay, so let's get stuck in. I'm going to go ahead and switch the banner. The opening odds will be at the bottom of the screen. Let's talk about this course. Briggs. Right?
Briggs.
We've seen this course before. We're not going to do a full hole-by-hole breakdown. If you want the hole-by-hole breakdown, Templeton's got some great stuff on the forum. If you didn't follow the Goat Cup, you should have. I mean, you could have saw me get beat 3 times on this very course.
Like a drum.
Like a drum.
Oh,
No, I mean not in shamble best ball. We didn't get beat like
That's
a
fair.
drum. Okay, like
Fair.
it went to the last hole, Scooby. Like, what are you trying to gaslight me already?
there's still
Okay.
damage there, scar tissue.
Right, there's still a lot of scar tissue on this course. We'll talk about scar tissue later when we get
You
to
can get a
purgatory.
Theragun from WorldWide, I bet.
You
Break
can.
that scar tissue up.
Right. James, you played this course today. We played 27 holes in the same group. Give me the thoughts about the way this thing sets up for this particular event, this championship. What did you like? What are these participants going to see?
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot about Briggs at this point because like you mentioned, our community has done a great job throughout all the different people that have been at events here. Templeton updating things with hole by holes, like all the information's out there. So I had what I thought was a little bit of knowledge heading into it, but the reality is when you get out here, it's just really cool. It's Dormy doing what they do best, and Briggs is a special place. For me, this is one of those courses where when you start off the round, especially holes 1 through 4, that's going to kind of set your tone from it all. The tee shots are visually daunting. They're not impossible, but there's a lot to look at. And you're hitting into a lot of greens that have got a lot of nuance to them as far as what you can do, where you can miss, and where you can't hit, which is kind of interesting because you flow to the rest of the course. To me, the par 5s are gettable. What I mean by gettable is we're not going to have necessarily a lot of guys get there in 2 so much, but you're going to have a third shot with a short wedge in your hand. Even if you're a little squirrely off the tee, you can recover and have that shot. So that brings it all to the most important part of Briggs Ranch for me is comfort hitting off of a tight lie, because these tight lies around these green complexes are either you love them or they give you some nightmares. So for me, the ability to use a wedge, the ability to engage the bounce, the ability to be confident hitting a wedge into a green that is going to break when it lands. And even if you put spin on it, there's going to be situations where you're going to have a hard time holding a green like you maybe normally would. Because, I mean, we played Dax today in a day where there was moisture, the greens were slower, and we still saw some rollout whenever wedges going into greens. You get them faster, like it's going to be for these boys this week. Whenever the event starts off, there's a lot to digest. My biggest thing is, like, you better take advantage of the short game area, which is absolutely killer, and just get comfortable with the wedge. If you get comfortable with the wedge in your hand from a short area and understanding I may not be able to hit to the middle of the green every time because some of these greens are huge, you can have yourself a very, very comfortable day and have some really good looks at stuff. Are they going to be close looks all the time? No, but you're going to give yourself a chance, and that's what this is all about.
Scooby, you played this Quest Cup where Josh had to carry you through,
Allegedly.
through just like swamps and everything. Like, I mean, his back hurt when this was over with. He carried you through to victory there. You've played this place before. What are your thoughts about Briggs?
I mean, I think James hit it on the head, right? It's the green complexes. It's the lies there. It's who can see the visualization of how you're going to get that ball close. And you're going to get into the handicaps. We've got a bunch of handicap golfers. It's not like there's a bunch of scratch golfers out there right now. They're going to miss greens.
Absolutely.
Who can see the green? Who can see that shot? Are you going to go high? Are you going to go low? Are you comfortable aiming 30, 45 degrees away from your target and trust yourself to execute the shot to roll it in close? That's really what's going to take to score, is how can you scramble, especially with the formats we're going to get into.
And depending upon some of the pin locations, the only way to get it close is to go to either the right or left of the hole and have it funnel, miss the green, and have it slope into the green. It may be the only chance for birdie there if you do that. Some of the key holes, James, I know that you wrote some of these down. As people are following along from home, which is going to be a phenomenal follow, and if you don't
It's
follow
gonna be a
this,
great follow.
it's crazy. What are the key holes in your opinion?
Man, it's like I said, I think the first 4, like as soon as we kick off, the first 4 are going to be something to watch, because you're going to see in all formats, in my opinion, not just one or the other, not just alt shot. As we get, like, in every format, the first 4 holes are kind of going to dictate how these guys settle down and get comfortable. The sooner you get comfortable, the better shots you've got out here as far as not necessarily going out and scoring, but going out and giving yourself the best opportunities. I'm not trying to short sell anything, but it's like Scoob said, like, we're amateur golfers. Like, misses are going to happen. The key is how do you control those misses as you work through it. Again, the par fives are big. I think the most fun hole to me could be 14 on the backside.
Yeah, 14 super fun.
You get into that short par four, and there's about 4 different ways to play it. You can miss off the tee pretty good, thinking you're going to be a big dog and go after it, and still leave yourself a little flip wedge. Like, there's options and opportunity there, and I think 14 is a dynamic hole, and I think that sets up as we come into the close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention, I agree with all that. 12 through 14 is going to be a critical stretch on the back.
Stretch.
It's a fun stretch of holes, and there's some scoring opportunities there. 9, I didn't realize how hard 9 was when I didn't get to play
until the second time we played it.
No. Well, I mean, the first time I got to play, we played Shamble today. In the interest of full disclosure, the first time I played Dan's drive on 9. Totally different experience.
It's a different ball game, baby.
Than having to play my drive on 9, right? Like, so totally different deal. Also note, if you watch the previews, that they're going to say that the only water on the course is on 6, but during the Goat Cup, somehow there is a marsh area to the left on 11, and somehow I found the marsh area on 11, and then heard an earful from Finley. Like, how could you go into the marsh that's not even on the GPS when you had all of that room to the right?
You've got room for days. This is a Power Faders courses dream setup off the tee.
Look, I'm not an exquisite ball striker. I'm just hoping that it's somewhere out there, dude. Like, it was already enough pressure. Let's move on. Let's get stuck in. A lot of questions have been asked about what is the median handicap of the field. And I'll go ahead and give it to you. It's 13-1, okay? And that is not, like, historically, that is not that bad. Like, this event has historically hovered somewhere around like 11 and change in 13. Yes, it's on the higher end of the standard deviation, but it's not terrible bad. And I kind of want to get stuck in. Why should you follow this event? I'm going to give you a little bit of history on this. And oh, by the way, I forgot it in my notes as I was flipping pages. Dude, how about this swag list?
Oh, the swag list is maybe the coolest I've seen in my time here.
Oh, the swag list.
You read it on the
so
forum,
good.
it just kept going and going and going.
Oh,
dude, they went all out for these guys, and I am super excited because I was like, man, why didn't I sign up for this? When I saw the swag list. But this one has never disappointed. Never disappointed. If you look at the history of this event, it always goes to the end. There's always high drama. And if you're at home and you didn't get in the event, this is a fun one to follow. And I'll give you 2016. War Eagle misses a 4-footer that doesn't touch the hole to try to force a playoff. Midwestern Irish Twins win by 1. Okay, 2017. This was at Cog Hill. This was the bloodbath, the train wreck at Dub's Shred. This is where, like, alternate shot, like, crushed people, and then all of a sudden Swedish Tiger with Lord Dox himself. We'll talk about him later.
Dox.
Shot even par on day 2, and the winning score there, by the way, was 157. It was 13 over par. This is how bad alternate shot crushed these people, right? 2018, talking stick. Surface of the sun. It was the conditions were brutal. The whole thing was brutal. We had a bunch of lead changes. There was a 2-way tie for the lead with Dirty Hoagies and Cooking with Curry, and all of a sudden, SoCal Strippers comes from 3 back, shoots 63 in best ball, and wins by 2. Another best ball run. Then you get to 2019. Big. This one they changed the format on. It's very hard to use it in the historical average, but it's actually one of my favorite live threads to go back in. This was Mountie. This was Purple Rain. This was totally Shamble best ball over 36 holes. The lead changed on the back 9 4 times. before the Mounties outlasted Purple Rain by 1. And then we started including like some harder formats, like Shamble Combined comes back into the equation in 2022.
Yes.
And then like you get like Tom Brady and slinging bags going back and forth as Tom Brady shot 9 under on day 1, which was Shamble best ball. Slinging bag shot even par in the combined score format and lost by 1. Then last year, holy cow, what an event. 45 holes. Shamble Combined was the first sesh, by the way. First session. They didn't get eased in. They went Shamble Combined, they went alt shot, then they had best ball at the end. First in fun. Comes from 3 back. They shoot a 65 on the second day. They outlost both Fire in the Hole, and we'll get to Fire in the Hole because Blazington's in this thing, and Crypto Cavemen by 1 stroke. This one never disappoints. It never disappoints. Doesn't matter what the format has been. I just went through everyone since 2016, and it's going down to the last hole. Follow this one. This is one of the funnest follows of the year. Let's talk about go ahead.
Especially on this track. Like it's made for something like this, man. It's going to be wild. And that's the coolest freaking thing about it.
Yeah. I mean, this track probably a little bit easier than Ballyack to navigate. And maybe we'll buck the historical trend from a combined score average, but we're going to go to the format because I think, usually we get to this spot in the format. Is it important? Is it not important? We always say, is this big deal, small deal, no deal? Right? I think this one's kind of a biggish deal because of where they put the combined score portion of it on day 2. Day 2 is where, and I'll get to some of this in a second. James, talk to me about this format. I love the format that it sort of eases you in with Shamble best ball, and then it flips the switch on you for maximum carnage as you go 9-hole alternate shot. You go to bed, you eat a feast, and you wake up the next day trying to win the WorldWide Championship. But oh, by the way, there's nowhere to hide because it's combined score.
I think that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, over the years at THP, we've used all sorts of different formats. I mean, we've used all of them, honestly. And the way this is set up to me makes it the most fun because the nerves are always high at the start of one of these, right? Day 1, no matter who you are, there's a little bit of nerves. So getting Shamble best ball out there. Some guys, you get them off the tee early. If your partner picks you up, gets you off the tee, it changes everything. Now, alt shot. I have a lot of trauma in THP events with alt shot historically, thanks to DDEC. It's DDEC's fault. It's not my fault. And it's the one that starts it. You get to see what kind of team you got, right? Because you don't want the guy that's going to apologize. You want the guy that's just going to go and understand, let's go hit the ball. And to me, that's actually where the higher handicappers might have a little bit of an advantage because I don't mean it in a bad way, but you're used to not hitting the best shots. You're used to being in some different situations. If you take a low cap, you take a plus cap, you take whoever else, and you put them in a 70-yard tee shot in a fairway bunker, that's a different beast. I'm not saying it's a good thing to be on that side of the spectrum, but it's something to think about. And then Shamble combined score, I think you said it best, there's nowhere to hide. And the fact that there's nowhere to hide, to me, is not a scary thing. That is a fun thing. You get to go out and see who can do what, and you get to go earn it. And that's the coolest thing about it all.
Scooby, what do you think about the format?
I love it. I mean, JMan hit a lot of the high points there on why it's great. But what I also love, and we alluded to this before, it's that partner. It is you and that partner together. What kind of vibe are you going to have? Are you going to pick each other up? Are you going to be saying, I'm sorry when I shorted it on 14 and put it in the scrap bunker on the left? Are you going to be saying, yeah, am I sorry I just hooked it left into a marsh that I didn't even know existed on 11, right? Like,
no one did.
You can't have that. Yeah, no one knew it existed, right? It's who has the vibe, who can carry it, and who can go out and win it and just have fun.
Couple notes here. The average, I went back and compiled all of the average team scores when Shamble combined score has been in the format. Okay. The average team score is 13 over par. Last several years, I went back to any event that had it, started tabulating, like if we did stroke play. Sometimes we've used it in match play before, but when it's been stroke play, I did the number. 13 over is the average. There aren't going to be any best ball. Look, I went through the history, last several events. A lot of these they contained a best ball run, right? Three back. First and Fun last year, three back. So Cal Strippers, three back. A lot of people came from back. They did a best ball run. There is no best ball here. The best score all time in Shamble combined last year, Fire in the Hole, Buffalo Plunger, Blazington, 3 under.
Woo.
Second best score, Slinging Bags, even par. Okay.
Solid.
So the point here is anyone within, there's not going to be a run. Like, you're going to have to hold on, right? It's going to have to be like Dogecoin, or you just have diamond hands and hold. We're just going to hold, okay? Because anybody within 8 to 10 of the lead, in my opinion, after alt shot, has a chance, because there could be an absolute train wreck that occurs in Shamble combined. Let's talk about these teams, right? We'll start with the favorite, Whiskey Business, Marmill, Baylor Balla. You get an 8 and roughly a 10. They go off as the odds-on favorite at 3-1. Now, if you've been following me for a while, I usually like low mids or mid mids. This is the sort of pairing profile that makes runs in this event. They fit that pairing profile, right? You get 2 mids. They both have experience. They both. Marmill, I know he can play. He was on my winning team at the Rivalry. I watched this guy. Sometimes this tee game's a little shaky. I watched him 3 down with 4 to play against Luden and won the match. He turned it on when he absolutely had to. Baylor Balla also has the ability to do that. I think that they're going to have to survive this thing. They can keep their head above water on day 2. They may not be able to make a run, but I think that they'll be one of those teams that are in the mix. And this is why they go off as a favorite. We'll get to who probably should have been the favorite. The biggest message that I got all week when I posted the odds was, why is the team at 4-1 not the favorite? But we're talking about a Whiskey Business. James, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on this team?
I think this is an interesting one. We've got some handicaps that have kind of moved a little bit. We've got a couple of guys who are known to like to have a good time.
Yeah.
So as with the way the format is, and coming in on day 2 with the combined, like, your good time probably needs to be a little bit more under control than it may have been in the past. And I know I'm wearing the Whiskey Business glasses, but that's not going to be my pick.
Ooh, he set him up. He had wore the glasses the whole time. Scooby, Whiskey Business. Talk to me.
Yeah. So coming out of the research den tonight, one of the reasons I think they're the favorite, you look at their scoring differentials, the slope and rating of where they've been playing their games. You're looking 71, 72, 74, 75. The course, Briggs is tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that range. I don't know exactly what tees they're going to be, or if it's a combo tees, but you're in that 70 to 74 rating. The course isn't going to scare them off in terms of the difficulty that it presents to them. We've seen them at other events on tough tracks play good golf. You mentioned Marmill, shaky tee game, but Briggs plays to a shaky tee game to an extent. You can get away with it.
I played with a shaky tee game today and got along just fine. A shaky tee game is going to be okay.
It's all right at Briggs, which is, I think, another point on why they are going off as the favorite today.
Yeah, they also come in 4 strokes lower than the median average, okay? And they also fit sort of this mid profile that has done extremely well. And this is why they go off as the favorite. But the messages that I got all week, okay, whether or not it was text messages or PMs or whatever, was, why wasn't this team the favorite? By the way, the THP universe likes Whiskey Business. That roughly in the contest, I don't know what the exact number is right now, but it was roughly, last night it was somewhere around 21-22% of the total handle was on Whiskey Business. And they were the slight favorite of the THP universe. Let's talk about when worlds collide. God, there's so much to like about this team. There really is. There really is, because I'm a big time Lord Docs fan until we get to September, right? And then there's going to be an absolute heel turn, and I'm going to throw him through the barbershop window. But until then, we're going to be best of buddies. Okay. Look, I like low mids. Okay, and you get one here. Get one here with Jeremy and Josh. They have the lowest sort of they're 5 strokes lower than the median average for the event. That is the lowest. Okay, in the entire field. There's a lot to like here. There's only 2 participants in this event. And I mentioned this run with Swedish Tiger earlier. I've also mentioned Josh's run with First and Fun in this exact event earlier. You have 2 people that have won this thing together. Right? So you get sort of this team. They're not going to get a lot of pops, but they probably don't need them. They're probably going to stay in the mix. I think they're the type of team that like when like total catastrophe goes on all around them, they're just sort of like grinding away and they stay there, right? They're like this steady thing. They post like maybe 3-4 under in the best ball format. They don't give any back an alt shot, and before you know it, they sit there and they're probably within 2 of the lead when we get to the final day. And you get Josh, who like can hit shots when he absolutely has to have them. He's crushing this proto driver shaft that all of us want. Like all of us want this thing. Doesn't even, it's made special for him. There's like 6 up in the universe, and I'm like, I mean, can we get Danny to make us more, right? Because I grabbed it and hit it. So you get Josh with Lord Docs, casino, THP store, and total event experience domination. He may be the most impressive competitor in the history of THP events when you look back at his resume. He's won this thing before, went undefeated at a Granddaddy. He kicked my teeth in at a Morgan Cup. Like, what can this guy not do? Well, he can. Okay, Scooby. You only flash 4 for one thing, and it's from Charlotte North. Whoa, it's not that. He doesn't get that. He doesn't get that.
I'm just warming up for September.
Here's where the discounts cooked in. Admittedly, Josh kind of runs out of gas, right? Like, he doesn't sleep well on these things. Like, sometimes he runs out of gas. It's early in the season for Jeremy. There's a lot of rust to knock off. Like, this is where they don't go off as the favorite. Like, you could make a case they should have been like 6-5 or even money, but I'm like, look, like they haven't played a ton of golf, and Josh may run out of gas. And the problem is that on the second day, when Josh tends to have less desirable outcomes, is the day that you have to have the most positive outcome because it can get away from you in combined score. Scooby, thoughts on Worlds Collide?
I think the discount when you hit on that plays in is that JB actually has to play holes 16, 17, and 18. He has not done that in many of the Briggs events. And at least last time I was there with him playing those, he kind of made a mess of them. You can't afford to do that in this format.
Okay. JMan, thoughts on this one? Like, I mean, they're staring at you right now. They're not in here with me. Cottage 14.
There's so many shots being fired, and then in the chat, there's so many people talking about how is it possible that they're paired together? How is this fair? How is everything going? Because in the end, they still got to go play golf. Did they get to play the course today? Sure did. Did they have a good time today? Sure did. Did they play good today? I'm not going to tell you that. What I am going to tell you is this course is the defense. So when you get to day 2, it doesn't matter the combination that goes with it. The fact that it's a shamble combined is going to help. You're going to have Jeremy hitting off the tee. That's a big help. Everything that works with it is how can you ham and egg it in that situation. So should they be the favorite? Maybe. I think it's 1A and 1B between these 2 teams that we talked about. But as you go from there, the situation is set up. In the end, you got to go play. And when these greens get fast, like they're planning on getting, that's the equalizer. That's the equalizer.
JB told me today that during the Goat Cup, they were running about a 14. Today, they probably ran about an 8. If it gets firm, it heats up, it gets fast. I do think that it sort of favors them because like he's got knowledge on these greens. We'll move on. WorldWide, Trevor. So you have the lowest handicap in the field in Trevor. +3, okay, with Scott Perry +27 in the history of this event. This is the largest differential in handicaps between a pairing in the entire history of this championship. All right. I always fall in love with a low high, and I never know really where to put them. Right. So for every Purple Rain that makes a run to the very end, there's a laundry list of low high pairings that have totally let me down. I'm looking at you, Club Seal. I'm looking at you, Jersey Burners. I'm looking at you, Canyon Cowboy. Right? Like, like I usually don't know where to put them, but God, like only less than 2% of the THP universe has picked them.
That's wild.
Okay, they could post a. I mean, you don't get to be a +3. Just you don't like get a certificate on the internet that says, "Hey, I took this training and now I'm a +3." No, you have to earn a +3. They could put up a huge red number in Shamble Best Ball, and then potentially sort of hold on an alternate shot, and then like take advantage of the avalanche of pars that Scott's going to get. And before you know it, they won this thing. They are still lower, even with having the highest handicap in the field. They are one stroke lower than the median average. This is criminal. Like, this team has a legitimate chance to win. In fact, in the interest of full disclosure, there's been some coins put on this team by yours truly because I kind of like the number. I kind of like the number, and I set the number. I don't know if that's like insider trading, Phil Mickelson reference there. But Scooby, like, what am I missing here? I posted them at third favorite at 6-1, and no one is giving them a chance. What do you think?
I'm not sure if you're off base. I mean, in the chat right now, we got Scott saying that Trevor could really assert himself, right? At that 3.1, you go have a hot round as the 3.1, and you're going to post a number that's going to be hard to – I don't think anyone can make a run to come find. So then it's a question of, can people hold on? Can this team hold on? And if it's a big enough gap, they might just well be able to.
He's going to find fairways. Mm-hmm. Like, because even I found fairways. Okay, so he's absolutely finding fairways today. JMan, thoughts on this one?
Oh, man, I don't know. There's so many places to go with this. The whole thing about Scott being a 27.3 being scary, you've got to look at the formats. I know you're talking specifically about what's going on with combined, but it's shamble. Like, Scott's going to get to hit from places he's never hit from. Mm-hmm. Like that's what's being lost in here. Now, could there be a situation where he gets a little squirrely and gets in one of these situations that's bad and it puts more pressure on Scott? Absolutely. But when you go for pure potential, I don't think people understand sometimes the difference between, say, a 5 handicap and a +3. It's astronomical. I mean, a +3 is through the roof in terms of skill. And on a course like this, it lends to players who have those kind of skills, those kind of hands, and are used to fast greens. So am I saying that they're going to come out and play out of their minds? No. But is the potential there? Absolutely, the potential's there.
You know, like, I would not be surprised if this team led at the end of day one. Like, it is not without the realm of possibility that they are the ones that everyone's chasing, and maybe they can hold on to the end. I really, really like this team. I think that they are the tremendous line value here at 6-1. And even your implied win odds on the form for the contest is insanely good. If you haven't made a pick yet, and you want the prize pack that goes on with picking the winner, and you're like, hey, you know, I don't want to compete with everyone that's already taken when Worlds collide, because you're going to have to go in the hopper and hope that you get drawn out. Like, look, there's only like 2 people that have picked Worldwide Golf. So, like, if you have a 33% chance of winning the prize pack if they win. Just keep that in your mind. Like, you're going to have to start, look, we got this casino now. You're going to have to start running implied odds and numbers, okay?
Play the game, baby.
Right. This may be the best value on the board. Southern Twang, they come in at 8-1. Mantan and KY Golfer, that stands for Kentucky, not anything else. Ooh. According to him, he made it very clear. They sent me this really cool ukulele thing. Okay. So I mean, look. Their merch was spot on. I kind of like them. They come in at 1 stroke below the median average. They are a mid, which fits the profile of teams that have won this thing before. And KY has been absolutely like nails in anything he's been with. Who could forget the 2020 Morgan Cup, him versus Illiterate, that ends in the concession, and then he comes back in 2022, and the Kmart thing is over before I got a sandwich. We don't know a whole lot about Mantan, so he gets a rookie, but if the rookie comes into play, this is an extremely dangerous team. And I like to point out, the last several winners, they've been around this 7 to 8 to 1. Okay, SoCal Strippers, I sent them off at 7 to 1. Tom Brady, somewhere similar, around 7 to 1. Last year's champion, I think, was around 6 to 7 to 1. Even though that was a mistake on my part, I shouldn't have gave that much of a discount for Dean and Josh. This could be very, very dangerous team. I'll start with Scooby. Your thoughts on Southern Twin?
I mean, typically when you're wearing red and I'm wearing blue, we disagree. But I think you're right in terms of the value. That ukulele might be a little bit out of tune, but KY Golfer's game and THP experiences, it's not. Like you said, he is nails. He plays on courses with this kind of difficulty. Mantan, you said, was a rookie, but again, going into the research den, 72, 71, 72, 71, 70, plays courses that present a bit of a challenge. So I don't think Mantan is going to be scared with what's presented by Briggs. Being calm the nerves from the first THP experience, this team's going to be there come day 2.
Yeah, absolutely, James. JMan,
I'm
sorry.
just
Four names only, pal.
Hey, I'm just really glad that that's what you brought into the screen as what they sent you, because I was really worried for a minute. Now, I like battle tested golfers and THP events. Yeah. KY fits that. I am a big fan of first time players into THP events, so this will be a fun one to watch. I mean, there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of known, so throw it out there and see what happens.
This is a very good value pick, and they would make a phenomenal hedge pick. If you put like more coin on either of the favorites, but you wanted to sort of have a hedge break even bet, the 8 to 1 is a great number to be able to do that with Southern Twang. Let's get to data simulation here. 12 to 1. This is where you start getting into the portions of the board where you start seeing like either mid highs. Okay, you get a 12 and a 17. That have at this point now they have to have a lot of things go their way, right? Because the format does, I mean, they can ease into the format and make a run, but the second day format does not favor them. Data simulation, that they are battle tested with Nerdy and Iceman, exclamation point, on this pairing. They come in 2 strokes higher than the median average. They're going to have to, like any team with this sort of profile is going to have to avoid like the big numbers to stay in the mix and use their pops at their advantage. I'm glad to see that they're back. Nerdy's phenomenal when he's been in these things from updating the forum. Iceman comes back here in this spot. JMan, I'll start with you on data simulation. Thoughts on this team?
I mean, these we're in that point of it where how good are the partners going to get along together? Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest part. Like I refuse to count anybody out because we've seen so many underdogs come in, and I know it's usually middle of the pack, but out here, if you find a comfort zone from where we're playing and from what's going on, and you just kind of get on a little bit of a roll of comfort, you're going to be within striking distance come day 2. And I think all of these that we get into this range, including data simulation, could be that way.
Scoob, deep in the closet of the data. Did you pull some data on data simulation here?
Data simulation might have actually provided a little data into this analysis.
Okay, ooh. Thank you. Let's do it.
Ready for this? Yeah, let's go. So we know, when you talk about people, Iceman, Nerdy, been able to play with both. They're both great guys. So if they get into that zone, they can hang around. However, I played with Nerdy a couple weeks ago. We're going to get front 9 Nerdy or back 9 Nerdy. One of those was a really good golfer. The other is probably going to fall down the board on day 2. We'll see which one shows up.
I'm optimistic.
I'm optimistic. I think that they can get to day 2. I just think that they have to thread the needle when they get to day 2 because Like this is the type of profile that could really be impacted by some large numbers if they let a couple of these holes get away from them, right? Let's go on budget. My man Scott comes in at a 10. I love Scott. It almost breaks my heart. He goes off at the same number at 12-1. He's played well in these spots before. As he has memorable. An alternate shot has historically been his kryptonite. Like I went back, I'm like, God, the alternate shot. Like Scott just really, really has trouble with this particular format. And I didn't even want to like trouble him with the juice because it's his career combined score and alternate shot is troublesome to say the least. He's going to have to reverse this trend because you're going to have to survive alternate shot even if you put up a really good Shamble best ball number. At this end of the board, the game plan becomes very similar, right? It's easier said than done, but it's super similar. Like, look, you got to find fairways. You can't let holes get away from you. You got to keep the ball in front of you. This is why Worlds Collide is going to be so good because they have the tendency of at least keeping the ball in front of them. They're 2 strokes higher than the median average. I think it can be done. It's a tall order. They're going to have to take advantage of some of their strokes here and keep the ball in front of them and not let it get away from them. But look, if you told me when this thing's over, like, hey, Budget Golf made a run, I wouldn't be surprised. JMan, I'll start with you on this one. Let's talk about Scott, Steve, our people from Budget.
Our guys, I think. I mean, hey, the odds are the odds. They're set for the reason they are, and I think Scott will probably own up to his alt shot situations and everything that goes with it. But alt shot's not easy. In the end of it, I would challenge you to find somebody who's going to have more fun than this team as they're out there.
Great.
So,
great.
Hey, take that and run with it, baby.
Scoob. I mean, I know. I mean, we look. No one loved Scott more last year. Like, if I had coins, I would have been felted. I would have been absolutely felted on the Vatican. They double got me. I'm Catholic. Plus, I love Scott, and then I would have just shoved in there. Scooby, talk to me about Budget.
I mean, I think the path right for this team at these odds. We've all had those moments, right? You're out on the course with your buddies, just having a great time, kicking back, hitting the ball, hitting it forward, rolling it into the cup. All of a sudden you finish your round, you go, oh man, look at what I did today on the course, right? You find that zone from what we know about, Scott and this team, they could potentially be there. That's their path, in my opinion.
There is a path. I didn't even say there was a path.
You hadn't used path yet. We had to go.
I've been waiting on it.
I'm saving it for September. Maybe earlier. Like everyone makes fun of me for saying it, and then I was like, I even wrote it down. I was like, look, don't use that as much as you used in prior shows. Let's talk about Smooth Criminals. This is the last of the mid-high pairings. It includes my favorite back nine bully and Debo, and then it includes Outlaw X, who we've seen at a Goat Cup take his little horse to the Old Town Road. He went 3-0 there. Debo loved him at the rivalry. It's his charge. That started the singles day turnaround for Team JDax as he went toe-to-toe with not illiterate, but Parrot. I beat illiterate. He beat Parrot on that day. They both have experience. They both have had the ability to make their pops count, but every time we've seen them, this has been match play. This is strokes play. They're 5 strokes higher than the median average. Whew, it's a tall order. Scooby, I'll start with you. Make a case that they, at 16-1, that they come out of nowhere.
I mean, you go into the research den, right? You look at some of Debo's scoring. You don't see anything into those 70s like some of those other players we've talked about. So that would give you pause, and maybe that's what's built into your line here at 16-1. But then you look at the THP record. We got some gamers here, right? Mm-hmm. We've got some gamers. What I will say is, word on the street, if there was odds on who had the best shoe game, Debo would be going off as the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, they had to take that prop bet off the board because JD Dogs would go broke putting that prop bet up there because
can't go broke after the first one.
That's an absolute lead pipe lock. He's gonna have the best shoe game in the entire event. JMan, Smooth Criminals.
As the resident shoe game guy, I like that. I like hearing that.
Okay,
I'm starting to think where I'm going to hedge some of my stuff. And I mean, these are the kind of guys that I think are going to settle in, and I think there's so little pressure on it all You go out and you ham and egg and you see what happens. They know what the odds are. You know what I mean? But go ham and egg it. Who knows?
Yeah, look, y'all both made a case for the path. Let's talk about Purgatory. They go off at 18-1. They're the only ha-ha pairing in the field. They're anchored by Blazington, who was with Buffalo Puncher and Fire in the Hole last year. They had this thing won for 44 holes. Absolute meltdown. And you know how you know what meltdowns happen? And it's like that someone arrives at the 18th hole and you have to keep F5. Like, what's going on? What's going on? F5, F5, F5. What is happening? When it was finally updated, First and Fun had bested them by one stroke. That's a lot of scar. That's got to be a lot of scar tissue, right? Like it just is. He's paired with the second. Blazington comes in at 16-6. He's paired with the second highest handicap in the field and an event rookie. But like rookies, like sometimes they show up, man. Sometimes they're silent assassins. They start popping and dropping people. Their way to the victory would be like, look, you have to make every one of these pops count and avoid an absolute train wreck, or like sort of keep your head above water and hope that there's absolute carnage ahead of you if you find yourself behind on the leaderboard. Scooby, I'll start with you on this one. Purgatory.
Yeah. So the research done, Scribble's a rookie. The research done was not able to find any information in terms of what kind of courses or what kind of, is Scribble's handicap going to travel? Right, a 21 cap that travels could be dangerous. I will say, I know Blazington was right there on the cusp last year. I'm not worried about the scar tissue one bit.
So what you're saying is we couldn't find Scribble's info with the search warrant. Like we couldn't find his real name. We couldn't. Yeah. Okay, JMan. What do you got for me on Purgatory?
I mean, I'm with Scoob. I don't think there's going to be scar tissue. I think there's going to be motivation. So, I mean, I don't. That means there's no pressure with it. That means you're just going to go play loose. As far as Scribb, again, I like new guys that come into stuff like this. I think you get a chance to make your mark, and what better place than here at Briggs to go take a shot and make your mark.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to make a run. Blazington has got experience. We haven't seen a Scribble play, or we don't have a whole lot of data on him. Let's see what happens. A lot of people like them. They're a little bit higher on the list for the contest, and I did see some preliminary coin data that had people betting both Smooth Criminals and Purgatory, potentially looking for that jackpot long shot payoff. That's not a long-term winning strategy, but sometimes you can hit it in the short term. Let's close the show, right? Super excited. Let's give some predictions and final thoughts. I will start with Scooby. Who do you think is going to win?
So coming into the show tonight, thinking it through, running the numbers, looking at it, I thought we would have, we've seen on the forum Baylor Balla fighting a toe issue. Mm-hmm. I thought we were going to see shades of Tiger Woods 2008 U.S. Open go get a trophy.
Yeah.
Right. But hearing you talk through it, I'm with WorldWide here. I think that +3 and hearing JMan talk and really thinking about what that delta is on a shamble. My heart's with Whiskey Business. I've got it up there, but my pick, WorldWide.
James. JMan, sorry.
As everybody says, oh, I know who he's going to pick. He's going to pick the THP staffers. No, I'm not. And that's going to make me pay dearly at dinner tonight, I'm sure. But I'm not going to pick them. Do I think they have a great shot? Yes, I do. Do I think Whiskey Business could somehow stay coherent and run away with this? Yes, I do. But give me the underdogs, Dax. I want everybody at the bottom of the board. You get me 12-1 and down. Give me the underdogs, because I think one of those guys are going to be the ones that come from behind and snatch this thing.
I've debated my pick like all day, and there's three
it's
different
true.
teams.
You have.
Right. There's 3 different teams, and I love them for all different reasons. I do think Worlds Collide probably wins, and I've already, in the interest of full disclosure, I've already bet a bunch of coins on them. But I may go back to the window. Here's my official pick for the contest. Give me Southern Twang, right?
Okay.
I get the right profile. I get one stroke lower than the median average. I get the mid. I get KY golfer in his ability to maybe shepherd through a rookie. So I think Southern Twang actually wins this thing, and I need to go bet some coins on them. But no matter what, all of these guys are going to be winners by going to this event, and then you can be a winner by going to the sports book and following along. So let's close the show. For Scooby, for JMan, this has been JDax, and we are out. Thanks for joining us, guys.